Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or The Notorious Fantasy, and today I am joined with my friend Andrew over here. All of his links are down below in the description where you guys can go find him. In this video, we are going to be doing an NFL draft grade video. We're going to be giving every team a grade from their picks throughout the whole draft. Obviously, you could do this with just the first round, but that's no fun. We're doing the whole entire draft. Andrew, do you have anything to say before we get into the video?
I just gotta say, this draft was probably one of the most predictable but entertaining drafts at the same time.
Yeah. No, I think the beginning was very predictable, but some stuff it went out of the air. It
Yeah.
seemed pretty crazy. So the first team we're going to be talking about here is the Miami Dolphins. They are first, since that's my favorite team, and that's just how ESPN works. So obviously with our first pick in the draft, we took Tua, and then after that, Austin Jackson, Noah I, Robert Hunt, Raekwon Davis, Brandon Jones, Solomon Kidney, Jason Strobridge, Curtis Weaver, Blake Ferguson, and Malcolm Perry. Now, I'm going to give my opinion real quick, and then we'll hear Andrew. So my opinion was our first pick was Tua, obviously. That's amazing. That was the best pick we could have done. We didn't falter and pick Justin Herbert because people were worried about how healthy Tua is. Who gives a fuck? Draft Tua. To me, that just makes complete sense. And then we draft Austin Jackson next. Tackle. Sure, that's a need. I would have preferred a different tackle, but based on what I've read, the guy's young. He's strong. He's going to be a fine tackle. That's fine with me. Then we went with Noah I, kind of a reach to me at the cornerback position. There were other corners available for me. And then we went with another guard, and then defense. I mean, Mr. Flores, our coach, loves the defense, so that kind of makes sense. Overall, I think our draft was, it started off at an A+ with Tua. All right, we didn't make the wrong decision. And now I'm near like a C or a B type of area for him. So I'm going to give them a B- for the Dolphins. I just don't love some of the picks. I feel like we reached a bit, but getting Tua is like, just makes that go from maybe, well, would have been, if it was Herbert, it would have been an F for me. So what do you think?
Okay, so I love the Tua pick. I think he is probably the best quarterback in this draft besides Burrow. Austin Jackson, a little bit of a reach, but you guys got your offensive tackle to protect Tua. Noah I, like you said, reach, but he's not bad. Solid corner. Hunt, good offensive lineman. Davis, good defensive tackle. But the one thing I like, well, actually two things I like about this draft, was later in the draft you guys got Jason Strobridge and Curtis Weaver, who were probably third or maybe even second, like late second round guys. And you guys got them in the fifth round. I think that's great value with those two guys.
Yeah, I can see that. I think we did good overall, like, as a draft. I just think that reaching on a guy like Noah I, to me, kind of just – and Austin Jackson instead of a guy like Cesar Ruiz, who I think we really needed, or a guy like Josh Jones, who I just think is better than him, lowers the grade. But overall, they did very good, much better than what I expected to happen, because the Dolphins only dropped the ball. Do you have anything to say?
I'm going to give them a B.
B, okay. All right, so I gave him a B-, and Andrew gave them a B. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys have for any of these teams you want to talk about, and me and Andrew, or at least I will answer down below in the comments. So the next team here to talk about here is the first team in the alphabet, the Arizona Cardinals. Obviously, at 8, Isaiah Simmons fell to them, and then they got Josh Jones, Fodu, I'm so bad at pronouncing names, guys, Rashad Lawrence, Weaver, and Eno Benjamin. So overall, real quick, Isaiah Simmons is a steal at the 8th overall pick. Josh Jones is an amazing tackle in the 3rd round. So their first 2 picks of the draft, even though it was only in the 1st and 3rd round, they got 2 guys that could have potentially went in the 1st. Well, obviously Simmons is going in the 1st, but Josh Jones could have went in the 1st or 2nd round, and that wouldn't have surprised me. The rest of the guys, they're just filling their needs, and they went ahead and got Eno Benjamin just in case it turns out that Kenyon Drake just isn't the guy for them, since he has not really signed anything yet. So I give this team, real quick, probably an A. To be honest with you, getting Simmons at 8 is amazing, and then Josh Jones, who I think is going to be an amazing tackle, who they need for Kyler, because Kyler's like 4 feet tall, and he needs to be able to be blocked. So what do you think, Andrew?
I absolutely love this draft. They had 3 splash picks. To me, they had Isaiah Simmons in the 1st round, Josh Jones the 3rd round, which is amazing value. I honestly thought he could have gone in the 1st round. Like, it may have been a little bit of reach, but I definitely think it was possible. And I also love Rashard Lawrence from LSU, the defensive tackle. I think those were their 3 splash picks. I'm not going to give them an A. I will give them an A- though.
Okay, that's a fair ranking, honestly. A- for me, very fair for them. They went from a team that they're going to be very good this year. Obviously, we're not including the fact that they just stole DeAndre Hopkins from the Texans, but that's obviously an addition to the team. So the 3rd team we're going to be talking about here is the Atlanta Falcons. Now, at 16, they went with A.J. Terrell, and then Marlon Davidson, Matt sipping on Hennessy, Walker, Javon Hawkins, and then Hoff Fisher out of Syracuse. So they've drafted a punter, which is a key position. So to me, A.J. Terrell was a guy that a lot of people very flippy-floppy on him. Some people think A.J. Terrell has the potential to be a top 4 corner. Other people think A.J. Terrell's a fucking bum and should not have been picked there. So real quick, what do you think about Terrell?
Terrell, I think he was probably the 6th best corner in this draft. I think that there were a few corners that they could have drafted, like Gladney, Diggs, players like that were still on the board that I think they could have drafted. But looking at their later picks, Marlon Davidson, that's a solid pick. Matt Hennessy, that's a very solid pick because they don't have a center.
Yeah.
Like besides, I forget his name, Alex Mack.
Okay.
But everything else, it's not like flashy, but like the punter, very important position. Like you definitely need to spend a draft pick on that.
Yeah, I mean, one thing to talk about real quick with Marlon Davidson, I know you brought him up, but obviously a lot of people are all talking about the other D tackle that's on Auburn that went way earlier in the draft to the Derek Brown, I believe is his name, who went to the Panthers. But at the end of the day, Marlon Davidson was destroying just as much, but when you have that kind of a talent next to you, you're not going to look as good. So that guy's a steal in the second round. And same with I love Hennessy as well. Not the drink, though, because I'm not 21. I'm not allowed to drink that. So the Atlanta Falcons get a B to me. I mean, I don't think they did anything wrong. None of these picks to me are B minus because none of these picks really stand out as excellent to me. So
I'm going to give them a C.
Okay.
Just because I feel like A.J. Terrell was just such a big reach.
Okay. I can't
argue with that. And they drafted a punter.
Oh, no, you have to draft the punter. Come on, man. All right, so the next team to talk about here is the Baltimore Ravens. Now, before I even say anything, the Baltimore Ravens absolutely murdered this draft. Patrick McQueen,
absolutely.
J.K. Dobbins, Matabuke, Duvernay, Harrison, Phillips, Breedson, Washington, Proche, Stone. First off, Patrick Queen is amazing. He fell straight to them at 28. They easily pick him. He's a guy that could be a very amazing talent at interior linebacker. And then J.K. Dobbins in the second round is a steal. I thought J.K. Dobbins might go at the end of the first round, but instead the Chiefs decided to take Clyde Edwards-Helaire. J.K. Dobbins falls to them. Now, as a team, I don't really understand why the fuck you're picking J.K. Dobbins because you don't need him. You realistically do not need him to me if you're the Ravens, but at the end of the day, snag of a pick, great pick there. Overall, great pick. I mean, literally the Ravens they have zero needs in reality. They really don't need anything that stood out to me except for, I believe one of their offensive tackles ended up retiring. But besides that, they just got a whole squad here that is going to be amazing. I love this draft. I mean, the Ravens are an amazing organization, amazing team right now, and this just upped their echelon even more. To me, this is a minus type deal. What do you think, Andrew?
I think Patrick Queen is the second best pure linebacker in this whole draft, and they got him at 21. That's an absolute steal. And Matabuke, that he was probably the 4th best defensive tackle in this draft, and they got him in the 3rd round. J.K. Dobbins, the 2nd, maybe 3rd best running back in this draft, 2nd round. The pick, like James Proche, however you say his last name, in the 6th round. Are you kidding me? I mean, come on. Like, they're some of these picks, like, the value on them is so good.
Yeah.
So, honestly, the grade I'm going to give them A+ for this draft. They might have the best draft.
That makes sense. I mean, Duvernay is good as well out of Texas, wide receiver. I mean, they need wide receivers on that team. That is their need to me. I mean, they had just Hollywood Brown they drafted last year, and then around them is like a bunch of washed-up guys that came from around the league, like Willie Snead. And then Mark Andrews is pretty much their best wide receiver, and he's a tight end. So this is a pretty good draft to me. Like I said, me and Andrew both really like the Ravens. So the next team we're going to talk about here is the Buffalo Bills, who did not have a pick in the first round, which may have been a bit sad for them, but they got a guy who I thought may have been a back part of the first-round pick in A.J. Epineza, defensive end out of Iowa. And then they went with Zach Moss, running back out of Utah, Davis, Jake Fromm, State Farm, Tyler Bass, Isaiah Hodgins, and Dane Jackson. So some people are probably very confused. Why the hell did the Bills draft Jake Fromm? They don't need him. Every team needs a backup quarterback, and Jake Fromm is the ideal backup quarterback. This guy will ride the pine for 10 years. He is a career backup player, but he's the kind of backup where if he gets in the game, he can control the game and just fit right into that Bills system. So I think in the 5th round, that's an amazing value. Zach Moss, I personally don't love, but you can't just use Devin Singletary. If you're a Bills fan, let me know what you think about that. I think Zach Moss really adds to that offense. And then Epineza, obviously, like I said, that's a great pick. The Bills, B plus for me. What do you think?
Um, Epinesa, I think that's a great pick in the second round. I think he could have gone in the first round. Zach Moss is a very good running back, and you mentioned they do have Singletary, but that would be an incredible two-headed monster with him and
Yeah.
Singletary. And then Jake Fromm, the quarterback. I mean, honestly, if Josh Allen got hurt like he did this past season against the Patriots, who was even the freaking Bills' backup?
Oh, it was one of those really old guys that just comes in and
Exactly.
you're like, holy shit, that's that guy. He still is in the league. It's one of those guys.
Exactly. So I feel like that Fromm was probably their best option at this pick.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give this pick a B. I mean, not this pick, this draft a B
Yeah,
for the
that makes a lot of
Bills.
sense. I mean, Fromm fell a lot. Like, there were guys drafted above him that I didn't even think that should have been drafted above him. So, overall, great fit for the Bills. Thank you to Buffalo for drafting this guy. Even as a Dolphins fan, thank you, because I didn't want the Patriots to get Jake Fromm and him to become Tom Brady 2.0. So, the Carolina Panthers were the next team. They selected Derek Brown. Like I said, talked about him. He's very good, out of Auburn. And then they got Yetur Gross-Matos out of Penn State. Amazing pick. That guy could have been a first-round pick as well. Jeremy Chin, great safety. Troy Pride Jr., Kenny Robinson, Roy, and Thomas Oliver the third. Real quick thoughts from me. Chin is a great safety. That guy got picked in the second round. Very, very well-rounded. Derek Brown, literally amazing. Like, I could have seen him if there wasn't a guy like Chase Young up there, or maybe one of these other talented quarterbacks. Like, obviously there's 3 quarterbacks in the first 6 picks, so maybe this guy would have went even higher if there weren't as many good quarterbacks. And like I said, I love Gross-Matos as well out of Penn State. So to me, this is a very good draft. I believe they went with all defensive players, which is actually the first time this has happened in a bunch of years. I mean, Rule just said, fuck it. I'm the coach now. I'm the captain now. Let me draft all defense. And that's what they did. I mean, they have glaring needs on the offense. They need someone behind Christian McCaffrey so that the guy doesn't fucking die on the field. But they said, you know what? We don't need that. We just are going to run Christian McCaffrey until he dies. We paid him all the money, whatever. So go ahead. I like this draft. I think that this is, since I'm not really a huge defense guy, I'm not going to give this like an A+ or something, since I don't necessarily know the later guys, but I would give it a B+ range for Mr. Matt Rule. What do you think?
I love the Derek Brown pick. I think that he's the best defensive lineman in the draft. No offense, Chase Young. I mean, and then Yetur Gross-Matos, great pick, defensive end. Also a guy who probably could have gone in the first round.
Yeah.
Tony Pride Jr. from Notre Dame. That's a great slot corner. And like you said, they went all defense. And, you know, Matt Rule, he turned around Temple and Baylor like that. And I guess his strategy was defense. Because as the words of Mike McCarthy, defense wins championships. Wait, defense gets you to the championship. Quarterback wins it.
Yeah, and you want to know who's really going to win them the championship? Teddy Bridgewater. Shout out to the Carolina Panthers. That guy's garbage. So the next team we're going to talk about here is a team that absolutely faltered last year. This is a team that went from where kissing titties Mitchell Trubisky might actually be a good quarterback to, holy shit, this defense is great, to absolutely falling apart like Humpty Dumpty on top of that wall. You know what I'm saying? That kind of a fall. Cole Kmet, first pick, makes 0 sense. They have literally, I saw a picture on Twitter, they have maybe 9 tight ends on this fucking roster, and they say, you know what, we're going to draft another tight end. Makes no sense to me. And then they go Jalen Johnson, Gibson, Veter, Monet, Hambrit, and Simmons. So, I mean, I have no idea what to think about this. This to me makes no sense. They need a wide receiver, so hopefully this Monet guy is any good. I probably pronounced his name wrong. Hopefully for them, Monet, and they got a bunch of corners, which is good for them. But drafting Cole Kmet to me just absolutely confuses me. He was like the first tight end picked in the second round, and then no other tight end was picked until like the fourth round when Bill Belichick got a bit hard for some tight ends and just started drafting them and trading up for them in like the fourth round. So I don't get it.
I think it was his dog who started drafting them.
Oh yeah, it was his dog that was sitting at the desk. Those dogs love them tight ends, so it makes no sense to me. I don't know what the fuck this was. This is by far the worst draft I've looked at with my eyes. I'm giving this a D. This is garbage. What do you think?
Cole Kmet, he's a great tight end.
Yeah.
But are you seriously taking this dude with your first pick in the draft? Like, okay, if the Bears had a first round pick, they drafted somebody else, and then they took Cole Kmet in the second round, great value. But
yeah,
when you have other glaring needs, are you kidding me? I mean, come on. And okay, I will admit Jalen Johnson is a very, very good pick.
Yeah.
I'll admit that. But everybody else, I'm looking at their picks. I have never heard of any of these guys. Like Mooney, like who? And come
Monet.
on,
Yeah.
Monet. I mean, this draft is disappointing.
Yeah, very disappointing. Matt Nagy doesn't deserve to have a job anymore. That guy's a certified dumbass. So the next team, speaking of certified dumbasses, shout out to Marvin Lewis, former coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. So now they bring in a new guy. Obviously, they brought in Zach Taylor last year. He's still there. He made it through. And they had the first pick of the draft, and they made the easiest pick I've ever seen in my lifetime, Joe Burrow. This guy literally bent defenses over in college football, made them his bitch, won the national championship, won the Heisman, has a huge penis, all the things that I would check off to be my quarterback. Same thing goes with Tua, my quarterback. Love Joe Burrow. Great pick by them, obviously. And then they get Titty Boy T. Higgins, Clemson wide receiver, who most of Twitter, most of NFL world, most of maybe Facebook, MySpace, whatever the fuck you use. T. Higgins is like, either people like him or they hate him. I don't know. I think he'll be fine. They have a bunch of wide receivers, but to me, this proves they don't like A.J. Green. I don't like A.J. Green. That guy gets hurt tying his cleats. He gets hurt hopping on the plane to get to the game. So, and then they go with Logan Wilson, Akeem Davis-Gaither. Shout out to Danny on his big board. Kareem Adeniji, and Bailey. So overall, I mean, that's a smash, slam dunk. They throw the ball up in the air, and Joe Burrow just slams that shit down. Easy pick for them. Overall, I think this is a pretty good draft. They acquired all the needs that ESPN says they needed, so great out of the Cincinnati Bengals. I would give this an A- just because I think that they needed more defensive players than they went with, but overall, I think it was a pretty good draft. So what do you think?
I absolutely love the Joe Burrow pick. Best quarterback in the draft, obviously. And then T. Higgins, I think that's a slight reach, but still he's an amazing wide receiver.
Yeah.
He was what? First in like all time in receiving touchdowns for Clemson, or second or something like that.
Yeah.
Logan Wilson, amazing linebacker. They need somebody to absolutely destroy Lamar Jackson, break his ankles that are about this thick. And Khalid Kareem, I think that's a great pick from Notre Dame.
Uh-huh.
So overall, I'm going to give this draft an A- as well.
Okay, now I'm changing my grade. They go to a B+ because I have never seen a team ever not trade anything. These motherfuckers had the 1-1, the 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, 7-1. What is that? Come on, Cincinnati. Make some moves. Grow some balls. B+ for me. So the next team to talk about here might be the worst franchise to ever grace the NFL besides the Jets, the Cleveland Browns.
And Eagles.
Oh, and the Eagles. Yep. Fuck you, Eagles. So Jedrick Wills, except for when you beat the Patriots. That was a great move. Jedrick Wills Jr. was their first pick. Obviously.
That wasn't the Eagles. That was Nick Foles.
Big Dick Nick Foles. So Jedrick Wills, obviously slam dunk pick. You have to pick a tackle. Baker Mayfield, you don't want that guy laying on his ass. You need to make sure that Chubb and Hunt can just run through the offensive line, just run through these guys because they're going to run the ball 60, 65% of the time with Coach Stefanski now. So that's obviously a great pick. And then Grant Delpit falls to them at 312. I mean, I was literally going to fucking punch my television as a Dolphins fan when we didn't select Grant Delpit. You guys can go back on my YouTube channel if you're new. Watch those videos of me and Tyler reacting. Tyler's a Dolphins fan to react to these picks. We were getting pissed off. I was getting mad. The television was almost going out the window if there was no coronavirus, so I couldn't go get a new one. So Jordan
You're
Elliott after
hanging
that.
from the ceiling.
Oh, yeah, I was going to be hanging from the fucking ceiling like that Twitter video. Jacob Phillips, Harrison Bryant, Nick Harris, Donovan Peoples, Jones. Overall, a pretty solid draft from the Browns. I mean, this is a great draft, actually. Their first two picks were slam dunk. I mean, the Browns doing something right makes me think that these players are going to be terrible because they picked them. So maybe Wills just breaks his leg or Grant Delpit ends up not even being able to – he might die the Rona or something because, like, this is unbelievable. They actually did good for once. Very crazy. So, overall, I'd give this draft a B, probably a B+. What do you think real quick about the Browns?
Jedrick Wills, probably, the second, maybe third best offensive tackle in this draft.
Yeah.
But still very, very good value for that pick. Grant Delpit, he was my favorite safety in this draft. Mm-hmm. And, I was kind of hoping he'd fall to the Cowboys, but he didn't. But still, that's a great pick. Jordan Elliott, defensive tackle from Missouri. Amazing for that third rounder. I think he would have gone in the second round. That's a great pick. Harrison Bryant, probably the second, maybe third best tight end in this draft. Donovan Peoples-Jones. I know the name. I watched him a few times when he was playing at Michigan. he's good. He's pretty good, but I mean, he's not like flashy.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm gonna give this pick a B plus. Not the pick. Oh my gosh, I keep saying that. The draft,
A B
B
plus.
plus.
Okay, also, real quick, shout out to the LSU players because these motherfuckers, there was literally like 20 of them drafted in this draft. Their whole team got drafted. It was absolutely crazy. So, real quick, if you guys have enjoyed thus far, please click that subscribe button down below. It's free. It's going to be a great time. You're not going to want to miss out on the other videos. So, the next team, we get to Andrew's team, the Dallas Cowboys. So, I'll read it off real quick, but we're going to get Andrew's opinion first before I absolutely trash this garbage-ass franchise. So, CeeDee Lamb goes with the 17th pick of the draft, and then they go Trayvon Diggs, Neville Gallimore, Reggie Robinson the second, Tyler Biadasz, great pick actually, Ane, and then Dinucci. So what do you think?
Oh, I get to go first this time?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're going first. It's your team.
CeeDee Lamb. Okay, I'm gonna be as subtle as possible. I know what everybody's saying. You guys, it's the same thing every time. CeeDee Lamb was a steal of the draft. Moving on. Trevon Diggs, he was top 5 corner. Complete
I thought he
I
could have
love
won in
that
the
pick.
first round, to be honest.
I do too. We got him at 19. Neville Gallimore, that guy was a second round pick, maybe even late first if somebody really wanted to reach. Reggie Robinson, honestly, I really hadn't heard about him, but apparently, from what the draft analysts say, he's a really, really good corner. He's almost 6'1", runs a 4.4.
Mm-hmm.
And then we traded up with the Eagles. We traded up with the Eagles to get Tyler Biadasz. I love that pick. People were just like, I don't know about because he fell. There's got to be something wrong. Not really. I mean, he had a few bad games, and he's not the best pass blocker, but he won the nation's best center this past season. And Ane, oh my gosh, he was a third round projected player, and we got him in the 5th round. And thing is, Ane, last season he got 13 sacks. His whole career he had 30, which is a record at Utah.
Mm-hmm.
The only pick that I'm like, that really actually confuses me is Ben DiNucci. DiNucci. Thing is, but okay, so I looked. He won a national championship 2016, and he won 2 conference championships. So the guy's a winner. But he went to James Madison, which is like what, D3. So
it's all right. He's gonna replace Dak, so it's okay.
Overall, I'm gonna give this draft an A. I want to say A plus, but if I say A plus, everybody's gonna get really triggered and say I'm biased, so I'm just gonna go A.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so CeeDee Lamb, I don't know what the hell happened in the draft because I thought this is exactly what was going to happen. I said before the draft, I think Ruggs, it's going to be Ruggs, Judy Lamb, exactly what happened. They had to pick him here. They had to pick him. He felt
they had no choice.
They had no choice but to pick him. Personally, I would have preferred if they had like Delpit or McKinney on their team. I think that is more of a need. But when CeeDee Lamb falls there, you legitimately have to pull the trigger. They had to, and that's why I guess it's a good pick, but I would have preferred to get a safety. Obviously, Trayvon Diggs, like we just spoke about, Stephon Diggs' brother, very good talent. Gallimore, good talent as well. Same with Biadasz, like we said. I think that this is a very good draft from the Cowboys. Not the best draft I've ever seen grace my eyes, like many of the Cowboys fans on Twitter are going to tell you, but I think it's a good draft, B+ to me. Next team to talk about here, shout out Tim Tebow, the Denver Broncos, and they selected Jerry Jeudy. Obviously, they went with Jeudy over any of those other guys. That's who they wanted, or actually it was Jeudy or the guy we just talked about, CeeDee Lamb. And then they went with a bunch of other guys. They grabbed, you know what they said? You know what? We don't need just one wide receiver. We're going to draft 3. They got KJ Hamler, Ayanume, Cushenberry, Agam, Okawoka Bababame, Strannard, Mode, Cleveland, and Tezeka. Sorry, I'm bad at pronouncing names. But yeah, they went with 3 wide receivers in this draft, which to me just shows how little respect they have for Deshaun Hamilton and anyone besides Cortland Sutton. They said, fuck all you guys. We're going to draft a bunch of new guys and see if you're any good. Jerry Jeudy, very good talent out of Alabama. This guy's a certified beast. Great pick for the Denver Broncos. And then, like I said, Hamler is a good pick as well. Lloyd Cushenberry going in the 3rd round. I mean, there is some worry about him. I believe his left tackle or the right tackle next to him got picked before him, which to me made 0 sense. This is a very good pick for the Broncos. And then I wanted to talk real quick about Oh, no, no one else. So I thought that their draft was pretty good. Not the best draft, pretty average to me. Obviously, Jerry Jeudy is going to elevate it to some people. Some people think he's the best wide receiver in the draft. It really depends on what you think. But I'd go with like a B to B plus for Denver. Overall, good draft. What do you think?
I love the Jared Judy pick. He's the best route runner in the draft, and they already have Cortland Sutton,
Mm-hmm.
who he's that go get guy that that like no he Judy's a number two receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
At Bama, I wouldn't say he was the number one, but like when you look at it, he was a nominated number one.
Yeah.
KJ Hamler is really short. He's blazing fast. He ran like a 2.27, not 2.27. That would be kind of crazy. He kind of reminds me of Paris Campbell, so who knows, he might get hurt. But Lloyd Cushenberry, I think that's an absolute steal. Albert O, kind of sad that he got taken. I mean, that's my guy.
Albert Owokabamba.
Yeah, him. I was kind of sad they took him, but he's a great tight end. He ran the fastest 40 since 2003 of somebody that's 6'5" and taller.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know. And Tyree Cleveland, when I was watching the draft, they had him as like on the Todd's best available. He was on there for like 3 rounds. So I guess that's a good pick. So overall, I'm going to give this draft a B.
Mm-hmm. All right. Don't hate that either. So now we have the Detroit Lions, who they had the easiest pick of the draft. They didn't even have to think about it. Besides Joe Burrow and Chase Young, they went with Jeff Okudah, obviously, at the 3rd pick, Ohio State cornerback. They went with DeAndre Swift, double slam dunk right there. Akawara, Jackson, Sternberg, Cephas, Huntley, Pennince, and Cornell, like the school. But he went to Ohio State. So the first 2 picks, obviously what I want to emphasize here, Okudah's amazing. They had to pick him. He's a very talented corner, the best corner in the draft. And then DeAndre Swift. I mean, Kerryon Johnson cried a little on Twitter. He was like, what the fuck, man? I'm pretty sure he tweeted out something like that. I retweeted it. It was pretty funny. DeAndre Swift is a god at the running back position. To many, he may be the best running back in this class. To the Chiefs, they said, no, he's actually not at all. We're going to draft CEH. But Swift, very talented. I think that Kerryon Johnson is going to be sad. I think that this is going to be a 50-50 type of split deal. Running back by committee. If we're talking fantasy, this is no bueno for either of these running backs. In real life, very bueno for the Detroit Lions. Very good for them. As long as Matt Stafford, I should say, can stay healthy, I think this should be a much better team. They were very good last year before Stafford got hurt, and then they fell down once David Blau had to starting these games. So do you got anything on these Lions guys?
Jeff Okudah, definitely the number 1 corner in this draft, and they needed help at corner because they traded Darius Slay for pretty much nothing to the Philadelphia Eagles. So I hate you for that. DeAndre Swift, best running back in the draft, and if you don't think he's the best running back in the draft, you're on crack.
Jonathan
Julian.
Taylor.
Moving on, I'm acting like I didn't hear that. Julian Okawara, outside linebacker from Notre Dame. To me, he's a defensive end. Great pick there. I like Quintez Cephas. He missed all the 2018 season, I believe, because of legal reasons. He got accused of something he didn't do.
Oh, you hate to see that.
Yeah, Ezekiel Elliott. I think he's not very fast. He runs like a 4.6, I think. He's not very fast, but he's that possession guy. So overall for this draft, I'm just gonna give him a B or B plus, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I think I don't know if did I say my grade? I think around B would be good for them. They just took 2 guards back to back in the 3rd and 4th round, which is obviously a need for them. They need to make sure that Stafford doesn't break his back again. So as many guys as you can put in front of Stafford would be ideal. So next team to talk about here is the Green Bay Packers. They select Jordan Love, which to me makes no sense in the 1st round. We'll go back to this later. I'll just say everyone's name and then we'll talk about it. Jordan Love, A.J. Dillon, DeGora, Martin, Royon, Hanson, Stepanak, Scott, and Garvin. Sorry if I pronounced any of these guys' names wrong. Like I said, I'm a bit of a dumbass. So first pick, Jordan Love. Makes 0 sense. Aaron Rodgers probably wanted to actually hang himself from the ceiling because they're going to do what he did to Brett Favre. It's going to be hilarious. It's like the same movie being played 20 years later or something, or 10 years later maybe. Jordan Love, great player out of Utah State. Great quarterback, Did they need to pick him? No. Should they have picked him? No. Was this going to piss Aaron Rodgers off? Yes. And then, you know what they do? They say, we have Aaron Jones, we have Jamal Williams, let's get a third guy, A.J. Dillon. Now, Aaron Jones actually, I believe, only has 1 year left on his contract at the end of this year. He's done for. There's no way they sign him back after they just drafted A.J. Dillon. I hate A.J. Dillon. This guy looks like a goddamn wrecking ball. All he does is he plays like Derrick Henry, and I like watching it, but I don't like that as my back because I think it's more likely that they get hurt. Overall, I think A.J. Dillon is a good pick for the team, but right now it makes no sense because they already have two talented guys. It's obviously a more future pick. None of these other guys really stood out to me. Obviously, they drafted another tight end, and this tight end is going to end up being a complete bust because in Green Bay, they just bring these tight ends in, and they just die. Whoever goes there is just going to be garbage. Jimmy Graham, remember how good he was? He's garbage now. That's what happens when you go to Green Bay. And then they have just like a carousel of tight ends. Richard Rodgers absolutely dumpstered your Cowboys, if you remember that. And then they have all these other tight ends that are going to be catching the balls on the Cowboys. So overall, I think that this draft makes no sense to me. It makes no sense. This is a C-, D+. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Jordan Love. That's a reach. Come on, man. I mean, he'll be a franchise guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers just got Rogered. So, just like how Tony Romo got Romoed. Okay, and then next one, A.J. Dillon. That one made absolutely no sense to me for two reasons. First of all, you have Aaron Jones, who bursted onto the scene last year. He absolutely murdered the Cowboys in week 5 or 6 last year.
Yeah.
Second reason, A.J. Dillon's a guy you probably could have gotten in the 3rd or 4th round. Honestly. And oh my gosh. I don't know anybody else on this board except Jonathan Garvin just because I'm a Miami fan. And he's solid, but not flashy.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that makes me so mad is they didn't draft a wide receiver. That was their biggest need. Like, I think it's something about like 54% of their snaps taken from wide receiver were from undrafted players, or it was like something like that. That's so poor Aaron Rodgers. First of all, they screw him over taking a quarterback in the 1st round, and second, they screw him over even more by not taking a wide receiver, and then they take a running back who's going to be their 3rd string who might not even make the roster.
Yeah, no. All right. Look, real quick, I forgot to even touch on this. How did they not pick Denzel Mims, Chenault, any of these other guys? Makes no fucking sense. I didn't even think about that because I completely forgot how stupid that was. They literally have no one. They have no one. It is literally Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams versus the world. Davante Adams, the guys next to him might be on your JV fucking football team. That's how bad they are. I don't even remember their names, and they were like fantasy players, and they sucked ass. Marquise Valdez-Scantling, MVS, garbage.
Yeah, C-. C-.
Fucking Alan Lazard. This team, this is garbage. This makes no sense. I'm changing it. D+. Terrible. Besides Jordan Love, even Jordan Love makes no sense, but he's going to be a good player in the future. So the next team, probably the team with the worst GM and coach because they're the exact same guy. The Houston Texans draft Ross Blacklock, Jonathan Grenard, Charlie, what the heck, John Reed, and Isaiah Cutler, kind of like Jay Cutler. Shout out to Smokin' Jay. What the fuck is this? What is this? You trade DeAndre Hopkins, and you get David Johnson and Ross Blacklock. If you're a Houston fan, you should be done already. You should have picked a new team.
There are no more Houston fans.
They wanted to trade away Deshaun Watson. And I just think Miami said, fuck it, I'd rather have Tua. I think that's exactly what happened. That's what they thought. And now I am just so confused. This is the worst draft I've ever seen because the coach is so stupid. If you're a Houston fan, sure, maybe this draft actually is fine, whatever, but it makes no sense in the terms of they traded fucking DeAndre Hopkins and get Ross Blacklock and David Johnson in return. You cannot have that. I don't know what they were thinking. Their wide receiver core is terrible, a bunch of injury-prone fucks, and they decided to draft Isaiah J. Cutler in the 5th round out of Rhode Island. Come on, Rhode Island's a basketball school, not a football school. This guy's probably a scrub. What the fuck is this? D+. What do you think?
Okay, first I gotta say this. Is it bad that my eyes went directly to the woman at the bottom of the screen before I looked at any of the picks?
Yeah, come on, bud. This is a children's video.
No, it's not. Anyways. Okay, Ross Blacklock, he went where I thought he was going to be. I'm not going to lie. I've never heard of any of these guys, anybody else they'd picked. First off, they didn't even draft a wide receiver. I mean, they traded for Brandon Cooks. Whoop de frickin' do.
3
Brandon
games.
Cooks yes, he hasn't been good since 2018, if even. So
Yeah.
I'm just surprised they didn't take probably like I don't know Mims or Chenault at 8. Like with all these picks, like what 2 fourths and send two fourths on a fifth and trade up and then get Blacklock. Come on,
Yeah. I mean,
this
J.J.
is a
Watt's gonna die angry that this is what they did to him.
this is a this is a D for me. I'm not even gonna give them a plus. Just a D,
All
a
right.
straight D.
Straight D, right in your mouth, Houston fans. Next team, the Indianapolis Colts selected Michael Pittman with their first pick, and they go with JT, Jonathan Taylor, God, Justin Blackman, Jacob Eason, Danny Pinner, Robert Windsor, Isaiah Rogers, Dazen Patman, and Glasgow out of Michigan. So, real quick, my thoughts: Pittman, great wide receiver out of USC. Jonathan Taylor, the best running back in the fucking class. I know you say it's the other guy. I don't give a fuck. Jonathan Taylor's an absolute beast. This guy can get 300 touches and absolutely touch the defense sexually. I love Jonathan Taylor. I love this draft. They get Eason, who many comped to Phillip Rivers, which is funny because fucking Phillip Rivers is their starting quarterback, or should be. I don't know how they could trust Brissett, but great draft. Eason in the 4th round, steal. JT in the 2nd round, steal. Pittman in the 2nd round. Great pick, even though I think there might be some other guys that I would have picked over Pittman, but overall still a good draft for the Indianapolis Colts. This is definitely an A to me. A minus for me. What do you think real quick?
I love the Michael Pittman Jr. pick. I love that pick because at wide receiver, I mean there were other options on the board,
Yeah.
but when it comes down to like what the Colts needed, because they already have T.Y. Hilton, who's that clear number 1. They have Paris Campbell, who's that speed guy. Michael Pittman's like a big, like he'll moss you. He'll moss the crap out of you. And so I think this is a perfect pick for the Colts. Jonathan Taylor, 2nd best running back in the draft. First on somebody else's board. I'm not going to name who. He just happens to be at the bottom right of my screen. Dwayne Blackman, great safety from Utah. I mean, great. Jacob Eason. I'm surprised they didn't take Jake Fromm here because I think Fromm's probably the better quarterback, but I feel like Eason would probably fit the system that they're probably trying to run in Indianapolis better. And those are really all the guys I really know in this draft. But with those 5 guys, I'm going to give them an A minus.
Okay, yeah, they had a really good draft here. Obviously, I think I would like Fromm better as well, but I believe Eason might have a higher ceiling than Fromm. Fromm's more of a safe pick, and I don't think the Colts give a fuck about safety. Shout out to Andrew Luck, who retired on them. So the next team was the Jacksonville Jaguars. They selected C.J. Henderson at number 9. This seems like a lock, to be honest with you. This is what I thought was going to happen, exactly what happens. Then they trade up. They get Clavon Chason, Laviska Shenault, Davon Hamilton, Ben Barch, Joshua Scott, Quarterman, Thomas, Colin Johnson, Jake Luton, Tyler Davis, Clay Brooks. So you know what they did? They drafted Luton later, or Luton, whatever the fuck his name is later, quarterback, but they could have drafted a quarterback earlier. They could have went with Love. They could have went with Fromm. They could have went with any of these guys, and they believe in Minshew. That's what that tells me, and they built guys around Minshew. They got him a wide receiver in Shenault that he needs. They got him Chason, and then they draft C.J. Henderson, a good defensive player at the cornerback position. So to me, this is an amazing draft. It checks every single check mark for them, and they drafted how many wide receivers? I think they drafted 2. So great overall for Mr. Minshew man with the mustache. I love this draft for the Jaguars. Overall, for the team, I think that this is a very good draft, so I'm going to give it an A to A minus. What do you think?
Yeah, C.J. Henderson, 2nd best corner in the draft, honestly. I mean, he can't tackle worth a crap, but it doesn't really matter when you're really playing corner because your job really isn't to tackle. I say your job is to tackle maybe 20, 30% of the time. He's a coverage guy, 100%. And then they take Clavon Chason, who honestly probably his highest would have gone was probably 16, but they got him at 20, so he probably fell a tiny bit. Maybe like some people may say he fell a tiny bit, but I feel like, he kind of fell just a tiny, tiny bit. I'm kind of surprised the Dolphins didn't take him at 18.
Hey, shut up, all right, man. I don't want to cry.
Sorry. I mean, I love the Laviska Shenault pick. He is a very versatile wide receiver. He's a outside wide receiver. He can play inside. He can be a wildcat quarterback. He'll take that to the house. He'll score on any way on you. Devon Hamilton, great defensive tackle. Didn't watch a lot of his film, but from what I've heard, he's very highly respected. Jordan Scott, great corner. As Josiah Scott, I'm sorry. I always mess that up. He's a very good corner. Shaq Quarterman, amazing linebacker. I'm a Miami fan. I mean, I think Michael Pickney's better, but here we are. But Shaq Quarterman is also a very solid linebacker. Colin Johnson, oh my gosh, this man's huge for a wide receiver. Beast, absolute beast. They like you said, they took quarterback Lutton. I think that was just for like backup because they traded Foles. But I'm telling you, mediocre Minshew is their starting quarterback for a while.
Hey, don't call him that. What do you give the grade real quick for the
grade? Ooh. A minus.
A minus. That makes sense. They did pretty good. So the next team to talk about here is the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champions. Kansas City Chiefs select Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Willie Gay, Lucas Nyang, L'Jarius Sneed, Dana, and Keys. First off, the Chiefs picked fucking Clyde Edwards-Helaire because they're just gonna dump the ball off to him maybe a million times. Go ahead, sure. That's a good pick for them. Not the pick I would have made. I would have picked a different quarterback. But go ahead, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That's who Fat Man Andy Reid wanted. Shout out the Kool-Aid Man. And then they go with Nyang, a great offensive tackle that they got in the third round. Willie Gay, well, I haven't heard much about him. What I have heard recently is that he's a pretty talented player, so it makes sense for him to join with the Kansas City Chiefs. They obviously drafted a corner later in the draft, which to me was a very big need for them. I thought they would actually address that at 32, but they went ahead and didn't do that. But whatever, it is what it is. What do you think about the Chiefs? I'll give them probably, because I don't like Helaire, I'll give them a B plus.
Okay. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, C-E-H. He was the fourth best running back in this draft, and they took him at pick 32. Are you kidding me?
The LA Superchargers. Quarterback, Justin Herbert at 6. Okay? That move to me is just, holy shit, we can't have Tyrod Taylor as our quarterback. That's what they said. They said, holy fuck, we can't have Tyrod be our starter. They draft Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is either going to be good or be a complete bust. I've seen videos, people calling him a bust. I don't know. I'm not the fucking quarterback whisperer. I don't watch Oregon tape. I didn't watch Justin Herbert because if I knew the Dolphins, I thought if they picked him, I would have just killed myself. So I wouldn't even have ever had to see him play. So it would have been okay. So then they go with Kenneth Murray, very talented interior linebacker. Joshua Kelly, to me in the fourth round, they said, you know what, Justin Jackson, you can go F off. We're going to draft Joshua Kelly, who I don't think is that great. Joe Reed, Alohi Gilman, and KJ Hill. They drafted 2 wideouts, a running back. I mean, they got their quarterback. That's what they really needed in the draft. They didn't get the guy that every single Chargers fan wanted in Tua because the Dolphins picked him. This is like a C+ to me. What do you think?
So first pick, they got Justin Herbert, the pervert. I mean, as a guy, Herbert's he's okay. As a player, he's just the same as off the field. He's okay. I mean, I think he'll probably end up being the third, probably fourth best quarterback from this draft. Actually, maybe even fifth, considering we all know that Carson Wentz is going to get carted off the field. Carted off in 3 different carts after week 1, and he'll never see the field again. So, Jalen Hurts is going to be the new starting quarterback of Philadelphia Eagles. After those 2 picks, I really don't know anybody besides KJ Hill, which I think that's an absolute steal. So honestly, I'm going to give them a B-.
Okay, I see. The thing is, I don't really think they needed wide receiver. That's why I don't understand why they drafted 2. They already have Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and then when you have 2 great guys and you have a great tight end and a great running back, to me, you don't really need 3 very good wide receivers. So that's just my opinion. I think they did okay, but Justin Herbert, to me, he's going to play a lot, so he will have the opportunity to look good, but I don't know. I'm kind of worried about him. So the next team is the other LA team, the LA Rams, Super Bowl losers that got absolutely bent over by the Patriots and then were bums last year. So they select Cam Akers at the 220. I'm surprised they even have this many picks, to be honest with you, because it seems like they trade them all away. So then they drafted Van Jefferson, good pick there, Terrell Lewis, Burgess, Hopkins, Fuller, Jonathan, Sloman, and Arkham. So Cam Akers, one of the best running backs in the class, might be top 4 for me. Cameron Akers is absolutely fucking nasty. This guy was in Florida State. He was the best O-lineman on their team, and this motherfucker's a running back. That's how good he is at blocking. He had no chance. He was getting the ball, and it's like the offensive line splits like the Red Sea, and there's 9 dudes coming at you, ready to just absolutely knock you over. Cam Akers said, nah, man, I'm going to run straight through you. I'm going to get past you. I'm going to go faster than you. I'm going to do all these things to pass you. Cam Akers is a god. He did it without a good O-line in college. The Rams O-line, I don't know, okay. And then Cam Akers is just a god. So I think this is an amazing pick by the Rams. They got rid of old man Todd Gurley, whose knee just works like your great-grandfather's, and they got a new guy in Cameron Akers. Van Jefferson, from what I've heard, very talented wide receiver out of Florida. But this is pretty much Brandon Cook's replacement. They drafted the guy they gave Brandon Cooks up for was this pick. So like Van Jefferson in, Cooks out. I guess it's fine because maybe Van Jefferson will play more than 5 games that Brandon Cooks normally does. And then Terrell Lewis is a good pick out of Alabama as well. The rest of it, I'm not too sure who most of those guys are. Obviously, I'm not some type of a genius when it comes to this. So I will give them a very good draft grade, B+ for them, considering they didn't have a first-round pick and they'd have a lot more later-round picks. They had 1, 2, 3, 7th-round picks. What do you think?
All right. Cam Akers. I mean, as you know, I've probably mentioned this before. I'm a Miami fan. And I just saw this guy just absolutely destroy us sometimes. And even though I hate Florida State, I learned to love him as a player heading into this draft. I think this is an absolute great pick to replace Todd Gurley. I think he could end up being better than Todd Gurley. Hate me all you want. In some areas, he'll be better than Todd Gurley. Okay, yeah. Moving on. Do you say no?
No, I agree. I think Todd Gurley is very talented, but his injury caught up to him. If he wasn't one of those guys that was injury prone, he's probably a top 5 back right now, just absolutely eviscerating defenses for the Rams. So you can go.
And then Terrell Lewis got the absolute great pass rusher from Alabama. And then they got 2 great safeties in Terrell Burgess from Utah and Jordan Fuller from Ohio State. I've heard very good things about Jordan Fuller and Terrell Burgess. And those are the only guys I know in this. So honestly, at my grade for this draft, it's going to have to be a B for me.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So the next team, obviously the team that was supposed to be holding the NFL draft, and then the Rona screwed them over. The Las Vegas Raiders select Henry Ruggs first at pick 12, and then they come back up at 19, select Damon Arnett, cornerback out of Ohio State, Lynn Bowden, wide receiver out of Kentucky, Brian Edwards, wide receiver out of South Carolina, Tanner Muse, John Simpson, OJ's brother, and Amir Robinson. He's not related to OJ, I don't think. But they went with not 1, not 2, but 3 wide receivers. They said, all you sorry-ass motherfuckers on the Vegas, they said, I don't like any of you guys. I think they'll keep Renfro because Mr. Gruden loves Clemson. 2 picks from Clemson back-to-back for them. He loves Clemson. He loves wide receivers. And all I got to say is Henry Ruggs is going to be an absolute god there. The reason why they drafted him is because they were tired of seeing Tyreek Hill burn them, and they hit them with the Uno reverse card. We have 1, 2. Henry Ruggs, the 3rd. Bowden, great talent, as well as Brian Edwards. I'm not sure why they drafted 3 wide receivers when they got one of the best in the draft. And they still have guys like Terrell Williams, who to me is still a talented guy. I mean, sure, he's not a wide receiver 1 in the NFL like he has been on the team because they just have no wide receivers. And then they got Hunter Renfrow, who I think is a very talented wide receiver out of Clemson. He looks like he's 80 years old, but he's actually like 24. So overall, I think that this draft was good. I just don't understand drafting 3 wide receivers when I think they would have been just as happy getting Ruggs and Bowden or just Ruggs and Brian Edwards and going with someone else at the other pick. Arnett is also a very talented corner out of Ohio State. I think he might be a reach a little bit, but still a great pick for the Raiders. B- for me. What do you think, Andrew?
Henry Ruggs, I thought he was going to be the first receiver off the board, either with the Raiders or the Broncos. We're going to try and trade up with maybe the Jets, or maybe the Jets even taking him. But the Jets finally decided to do something smart and go off the tackle, but we'll talk about that later when we get to them. Damon Arnett, he's a good corner, but I think it's a really big reach. Not like a huge reach, but that guy you could have gotten maybe in the 2nd round. Actually, they don't have a 2nd round pick. So that's a guy you could have traded back and gotten. Lynn Bowden, he's a very versatile player. A lot of the guys from Kentucky, well, wait, not Kentucky, sorry. I'm thinking of Memphis. Their colors are kind of alike. But Lynn Bowden, he's a very, very versatile receiver. Brian Edwards, he is a very, very good receiver. The Cowboys are thinking about drafting. Tanner Muse, White safety. I say he's probably the next Jeff Heath.
I like
Okay,
that.
just because he's white and plays safety. No, but they also have the same build and everything like that. And if you watch the college football playoff semifinals against Ohio State, I believe, um, he chased down. I don't know who it was. It may have been J.K. Dobbins or a receiver down like the couple like 2 or 3 yard line. But this kid and because of that, they held Ohio State to just a field goal, and that pretty much won them the game there. Like
Yeah.
later, so I just feel like Tanner Moose is a great pick for them here, just because of all the effort he puts in and stuff like that. I don't know any of these other guys. Sorry, I take it back. I know Amik Robertson, decent corner, and I'm surprised they didn't have anything past the 4th round, but I wouldn't be complaining. Um, so overall, I'm going to give this draft a B plus.
Okay. Next team here is the Minnesota Vikings, a team who I thought was destroying the draft. They had a zillion picks. You have to scroll down to see all their goddamn picks. They absolutely bent the draft over and fucked it. It was amazing. Justin Jefferson, LSU wide receiver. Jeff Gladney, TCU cornerback. First 2 picks, amazing. What they needed, I think they could have drafted 2 corners, but they went with the wide receiver because obviously they got rid of Stephon Diggs, so they got Justin Jefferson, Jeff Gladney, Ezra Cleveland, good tackle out of Boise State, Cameron Dantzler, cornerback out of Mississippi State, sorry. Woonham, James Lynch, Troy Dye, Harrison Hand, KJ Osborne, Brandel, Metellus, Wilkies, Stanley, Cole II, and Hinton. So they have a million picks. So they had how many picks in the 4th round? 1, 2, 3, 4 picks in the 4th round. Or not in the 4th round, the 7th round. Guys you probably haven't heard of. But overall, this draft is amazing. They literally hit all their needs in their first 4 picks. Dantzler is a cornerback out of Mississippi State that I think is very talented, falling to the 3rd round. Ezra Cleveland, a guy falling late into the 2nd round that is very talented. O-tackle. Jeff Gladney, 2nd best corner, 3rd best corner in the draft. Justin Jefferson going to the Minnesota Vikings. Well, I don't think this year he'll be amazing because obviously with this coronavirus shit, they can't really go in and practice, and the Cousins and him won't be able to necessarily get that connection that they want. But at the end of the day, Jefferson's a very talented player looking towards the future. Amazing draft. The Vikings absolutely murdered this draft like their name was O.J. Simpson. The glove didn't fit at the end of this one. A for the Minnesota Vikings. What do you think?
Jefferson, I think he was the 4th best receiver in this draft, just by pure talent. He absolutely destroyed it in the national championship. Grade, Ezra Cleveland, great offensive tackle. Dantzler, I think he probably should have gone in the 2nd round. So very, very good pick there. DJ Warnham, honestly, I really didn't know who that is. Don't know who James Lynch is. Don't hate me for this, but I know who Troy Dye is. Troy Dye is probably the 5th best inside linebacker in this draft. So a great pick there. KJ Osborne, decent wide receiver. He only had about 500 some yards and like 8 touchdowns or something like that. But he still led Miami in both of those categories. It's kind of sad, but he's a leader, and I think he'll end up being a very, very solid player. Oh, what? I can't say it. Kenny. We're just call him KW from Michigan State, that defensive end.
Willikes.
Sure, KW, Michigan State. I think that's a great pick in the 7th round because I think last year or 2 years ago he won Defensive Player of the Year in his conference. Nate Stanley, quarterback. Okay, sure. And those are really all the guys I know in this draft. So honestly, I think they absolutely murdered this draft, like O.J. Simpson, as you explained earlier. Taking your pun there.
That's okay.
I'm gonna give them an A for this. Actually, no, I'm giving them an A plus.
A plus, absolute murder.
First A plus of the video.
First A plus, baby. Okay, so now is the New England Deflatriots, former cheaters, probably still cheated, but it's okay. Kyle Duggar, I just met her. Or what is that? What I tweet out something like Duggar, I wish I knew her, or something like that. One of those jokes. Kyle Duggar, safety out of some D3 fucking school. Josh Oosh, Michigan D-end. They love Michigan. Mr. Belichick loves Michigan men. Jennings out of Alabama. Asiasi out of UCLA. They said Dalton Keene out of Virginia Tech. And then a bunch of other guys. Roshweiser, Owner, Hernan, Malora, and Woodard. All right, let me explain something real quick. This draft is terrible. I look at this is garbage. But you know what's funny? is 3 of these guys are probably going to be getting their bus put in the Hall of Fame because that's what Bill Belichick does. This draft grade, to me, is a D, but I'm going to give it an A because I believe in Bill Belichick, and I'm a Dolphins fan. I just believe in him. Real quick, I want to bring up the fact that they drafted 2 tight ends in the 3rd round. First time 2 tight ends have been drafted by the Patriots since Aaron Hernandez and Robert Gronkowski. So that was a killer move. Shout out Aaron Hernandez. So obviously, the draft just doesn't look good. Drafting 2 tight ends, 2 guys that aren't even there were other tight ends on the board. I think Thaddeus Moss is better than both these motherfuckers, and that guy didn't even get drafted. He got signed to the Redskins. Overall, don't like the draft, but like I said, man, Bill Belichick's a goddamn genius. He watched these guys. He watched this first guy, Duggar, playing like a D3 game, just came in his pants and just drafted him. That's what happened. That's how that guy is.
Dog.
He's crazy. His dog might have been making these picks. Overall, terrible draft. A for the Patriots.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so Kyle Duggar, I watched his highlights. Okay, out of like 90% of his highlights that I watched weren't even at safety. It was just him as a punt and kick returner. So they pretty much drafted a special teams guy at freaking the 2nd round, pick 5. And then they got Josh Uche, which I genuinely like that pick. Also Anthony Jennings, I genuinely like those 2 picks. And then those 2 tight ends, I don't understand why they did that.
What's funny is they traded up for both of them, I'm pretty sure.
Like, why? Maybe their dog is a reincarnation of what's his name? I forgot his name.
Aaron Hernandez?
Yes, the dog's reincarnation of the dog said, we're taking 2 tight ends, baby. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of that, I don't know anybody else. And yeah, but like you said, I really want to give this pick a horrible grade, but it's the mother trucking Patriots, man. Like, just of course they're gonna have a good draft. They always find those players like a Chase Winovich in the late rounds, like a Rob Gronkowski. Like, it's like they build their team off those late white guy picks.
It's true.
Like Julian Edelman, Tom Brady. He's not there anymore. Thank God. I'm forced to give this pick a B+. Like, I'm forced.
And also something is they lost Tom Brady, and they said, we don't need a quarterback, so they have to be tanking. They have to be.
Stidham we trust.
Stidham we trust, and then they're going to end up just drafting they're going to do terrible, or they're going to do really good. That's the funny thing is I could see them getting like 3 wins, and I could also see them being the best team in the AFC and just beating the shit out of Tom Brady with Stidham in Tampa. Like, that would be hilarious. Actually, I kind of want that to happen because fuck Tom Brady, but fuck you, Bill Belichick, as well. A, though, because Bill Belichick's just a fucking genius. These picks are garbage, like I've said a million times, but Bill Belichick just knows something that no one else knows.
Wait, hold on a second. Like, was that the first time they ever showed Bill Belichick making like during the draft?
Yeah, no, they never show him. So yeah, but he was hiding for the first like 5 picks.
No. Think about this. Maybe his dog has been making these picks for all these years.
Maybe. Who knows? All right.
But
who knows?
All right, Saints.
The next team to talk about here is the Saints. Shout out to Tom Brady because he's probably going to absolutely butt-fuck this team because that's just what Tom Brady does. So they draft Cesar Ruiz at the 24th pick. Great pick by the Saints, the guy I wanted the Dolphins to draft. They select him out of Michigan. Zach Bond. All right, the reason why Zach Bond fell, I believe, is because he had one of those diluted piss tests. He didn't even pee in the cup. He had someone else pee in it. Fucking dumbass, I believe is what happened. Dumbass because weed's legal now in the NFL, so you could have smoked the weed and been fine, but instead you have someone else piss in your cup, and then it just shows these teams you're a dumbass. You couldn't have smoked weed for 2 months. All you had to do was stop for a month, and you would have been fine. And then he just somehow falls to one of the best teams in the NFL, the Saints. So they get Zach Bond. Then they go with Adam Troutman because, why not just get another offensive weapon? And then Tommy Stevens, quarterback. This guy's not replacing Drew Brees. They're going to have to Taysom Hill's replacing Drew Brees. So that's just a fact. They didn't draft really. They just drafted whatever the fuck they wanted to. Cesar Ruiz, great pick. Zach Bond, great pick. Troutman, great pick. I don't know who Tommy Stevens is, really, to be honest with you. But Zach Bond is an amazing steal in the 3rd round. I just think I guess that's just an issue on his character. They must have believed, every team must have been like, this guy's a dumbass. That's why I didn't draft him. This gets an A- for me. What do you think?
Cesar Ruiz, he's probably the best center in the draft. I can't believe Zach Bond fell that far. But like you said, weed is now legal in the NFL. Don't show back in the day, like it was probably like 70s or 60s, like after they come off the field after a drive, like they would literally just whip out a cigarette.
And they'd be railing coke on like the fucking sideline and
You
shit.
imagine this year, like the guys just go to the sideline, just whip out a blunt. It's legal. Anyways, Adam Troutman, I think he's the best tight end of the draft. Tommy Stevens, definitely the Drew Brees replacement. Just kidding, I have no idea who he is. But overall, I'm gonna give this B plus.
Yeah, I mean, Breeze is only signed for one more year, so that is kind of worrying that they waited so long to draft Stevens. But, I mean, they didn't do something stupid and drafted Jordan Love in the first round. Shout out to the Packers. The next team here is the New York Football Giants, a team that Andrew probably hates, a team that I think absolutely killed the draft. They did. Andrew Thomas, they had to draft him. They passed on Isaiah Simmons. They got a tackle that they need. To them, he was their best tackle. To me, he might be the third or fourth best tackle. But what the fuck do I know? They know better than me. Maybe. I don't know. They kind of drafted Daniel Jones at 6 last year. But Andrew Thomas,
about that.
Yeah, Andrew Thomas, then Xavier McKinney, amazing pick. Dude fell. The Dolphins should have drafted him. No, they didn't. Matt Pert out of UConn, tackle, good tackle. And then they got Mr. Danny Holmes, Lemieux. Shout out to Lemieux, the hockey player. Cam Brown, Tom Coughlin's brother, Carter Coughlin, TJ Brunson, Chris Williamson, shout out to Zion, and Tay Crowder. To me, I don't know who a lot of those later round people are, but just going Thomas and McKinney and Pert, amazing fucking picks. I mean, they needed to protect Daniel Jones and Saquon, and they did that. I thought they were going to be foolish and draft Isaiah Simmons, who was the best pick there. Realistically, if you're thinking, holy shit, who's going to make the team better? He would have. But if Daniel Jones ends up dying, you're not going to do good. If Saquon dies, you're not going to do good. They don't have any real – I hate their wide receivers. Golden Tate, old scrub. Sterling Shepard is a washed-up bum. Not good at all. Evan Ingram, garbage. I'm just kidding. Evan Ingram's very good. Shepard's good as well. So is Golden Tate. But Shepard and Ingram both have injury problems, which scares me. But overall, I think they had a very good draft. They killed the draft. This is an A for the Giants. Their first 2 picks literally just – absolute cock slaps to the rest of the NFL that they got these picks.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I completely agree. Andrew Thomas, he may not have been the number 1 tackle in the draft to us, but to the Giants, apparently he had something that they loved. And plus, I feel like that, considering that nobody actually got to meet face to face besides the combine this year, that's why I think maybe CeeDee Lamb fell as far as he did, and like some other players. Because they didn't get to meet face to face like Zach Bond and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Xavier McKinney, I was personally upset when I saw this pick. Personally upset. Like I took that pick personal. Like you just ruined that man's career. Matt Pert, never heard of him. But I guess they liked him. They're trying to protect Danny Dimes.
Danny Fumbles.
Darnay Holmes. I've heard that he's really good. So good job. Shane, I don't know how to say his last name. I'm not gonna lie.
Lemieux.
Yeah, Lemieux, offensive guard. I've heard that he's also decent. I think I've heard a lot of things about a lot of different players, and we'll get to that. But all the rest of these players I've never heard of, and I live in Georgia. I've never heard of Tay Crowder. So and these Georgia people never shut up about UGA. So never heard of them. So I'm gonna give this pick not the pick. Oh my gosh, draft a B.
Yeah. One thing to talk about real quick. Andrew Thomas is a great run blocking offensive tackle because Georgia, they just run the ball a million times, so he has to be good at run blocking. And the Giants are going to run the ball a million times with Barkley to try to make sure that Danny Dimes doesn't fuck up. I mean, I think Danny Dimes actually, while it was hilarious that they drafted him at 6, I don't think he's a bad quarterback. Some people might because you're a Dallas fan. I think he's just okay. I don't think he's the best quarterback in the NFL, but I think that they made a solid draft to try to help him. They drafted 3 guys on the offensive line, I believe. So great move, multiple guys on the offensive line. So very good draft for them. Next goes to the worst team in the NFL, the New York Football Jets. Hilarious. They get the wide receiver that their fans wanted. They don't pick him, which I think is the right move. I think they should have drafted Mekhi Becton here. I don't think they should have drafted a wide receiver, but some of the fans are probably pissed off. What I've seen out of Mekhi Becton, I don't know if you watched the draft, but this motherfucker literally took a truck and was pushing it up a hill. To me, that just shows how good he is. And then he jumped out of a pool, and he's this fat guy, just boom, straight out of the pool. That's amazing. Mekhi Becton, clearly, the O-tackle they had to take there. There's only 4 good O-tackles in the draft. Or not really only 4 good ones, but the 4 top ones. He's one of them. At 11, that's the pick. Then Denzel Mims falls, a guy who I thought might have been picked 27th, maybe in the first round, falls all the way to second. The second round gets picked. Ashton Davis, Zuninja, LaMichael P. Ryan, shout out Samaje P. Ryan, James Morgan to take Mr. Sammy Mano's job. Cameron Clark, Bryce Hall, and Braden Mann. They drafted a punter. Shout out to the Jets for drafting a goddamn punter. James Morgan, what I've heard about him was someone told me he's a competitor. He's one of these guys that is going to be up Sam Darnold's ass to be like, holy shit, Sam, fucking do something, you dumbass. Don't go kiss a high school girl and get mono, you dumb fuck. He's going to tell him all these things. And Mekhi Becton's going to try to protect him from that mono. So overall for the Jets, I give this a B-. I like actually adding LaMichael P. Ryan, a guy who is kind of the opposite of Le'Veon Bell. And that helps. You know, you don't want 2 of the same fucking running backs on the same team. That's like if you had Derrick Henry and you drafted A.J. Dillon. It would make no sense. Overall, probably a solid draft from them. They got their O-tackle, but hopefully one guy is enough to save his life because the other guys they picked up in free agency were not the top-tier O-tackles that the Jets were looking for. Shout out to Adam Gase, who probably did multiple lines of coke before making these selections. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think Mekhi Becton was probably the best possible pick.
Yeah,
but maybe besides Tristan Wirfs, but Mekhi Becton, like they made the right pick, at least with the right position.
Yeah.
Because if they took Henry Ruggs,
they would have been fucked.
Yes, like okay, just because you got a speed guy doesn't mean that Darnold would be able to get the ball out any faster. And it's just okay, but I'm glad they didn't. And then they took Denzel Mims. They waited. Denzel Mims, a guy who should have gone in the first round to probably the Eagles, in my belief. We'll actually take that back.
I thought he was going to go to the Packers.
Eagles. But I just good pick. Good pick. I respect him for that. And then they got a very, very good safety, probably a top 5 safety in this draft, Ashton Davis from California. Never heard of Zunga. I think that's Zuniga, I don't know. I don't know how to say his name. James Morgan. I watched his tape. Very, very good quarterback. Cameron Clark, never heard of you. Bryce Hall, I cannot believe he fell that far in the draft. I think it was because he missed so much time from an injury. But probably at this time of last year, Bryce Hall was a top 5 cornerback, maybe even top 3. So I'm very surprised that he fell that far. Amazing pick. But the best pick I haven't even talked about, Braden Mann, puncher.
Oh.
MVP of the 2020 season, clocking it now.
Yeah.
A++. I'm just kidding. Honestly, I'm gonna give him a B+.
Okay, that makes sense. Denzel Mims, one thing about him is I really feel bad for this guy. He thought he was going to the Eagles. He thought he was going to the Saints. He thought.
What do you mean you feel bad for him?
To the Packers,
bro. I'd be celebrating.
Why would you be celebrating going to the fucking New York Football Jets? He's probably pissed. He's like, God damn it, it's that.
I'd rather go to the Jets than the freaking Eagles, bro. Do you know how harsh Eagles fans are, bro? You freaking drop a pass, they call for your head, man. This is like soccer in Brazil.
I mean, Nelson Aguilar dropped many passes and he's still alive, so it's okay. I mean, Denzel Mims is a great talent. I just feel bad for him because he thought he was getting that first round payday, and then he gets the second round payday, but then he lands with the Jets. So it was like he got fucked 3 times in the ass. So next, the Philadelphia Eagles, the worst fan base in the NFL, besides the Dallas Cowboys. Jalen Reagor, Jalen Hurts, Davion Taylor, Kawan Wallace, Jake Driscoll, John Hightower, Bradley Watkins, Prince Tehe Wanghu, and Tohill. So real quick, Reagor, great pick, amazing pick, great move. And then you know what they do in the second round? They make the most nonsensical move I've ever seen. Draft Jalen Hurts. I mean, Jalen Hurts, great talent to me. I think he's a talented quarterback. But Jesus Christ, I mean, Carson Wentz must be pissed off. I tweeted that, you know, that Arthur meme where he's like this? That, like, Arthur hand? That was the meme. That's what Carson Wentz was doing. He had the Arthur hand. He was pissed off because that guy is an injury-prone motherfucker. He's like, he just loves that blue tent you get to sit in after you get hurt. He just loves that thing because he's always in there.
He's sitting in the line for it.
Jalen Hurts is legitimately going to be the most confusing pick ever because the pick looks stupid on paper, but once those Eagles fans realize that Carson Wentz, I mean, he might be better than Carson Wentz. I'm being honest with you. They paid Carson Wentz so much money, so it makes no sense to pick him because they paid him so much money, but it makes so much sense because the motherfucker's only going to play 8 games this season. I love Jalen Hurts. I think this is a terrible pick, though. Overall, just because they drafted Jalen Hurts to me, which makes no sense, this is a C- draft. But what do you think about the Eagles here?
Okay. I spent my whole Thursday night after the draft watching Eagles fans react to the Cowboys taking CeeDee Lamb. Honestly, I don't think I've ever laughed so hard in my life. People were like screaming, crying, cussing. Anyways, while I was doing that, the Eagles fans were spending the rest of the night after the draft trying to convince themselves Jalen Reagor was a good pick. And all the Eagles fans were on suicide watch. I'm not going to lie. And then day 2, Eagles fans got off suicide watch. They were still just pissed. And then they take Jalen Hurts, and half the Eagles fan base is dead. I mean, what were they thinking? Okay, yes, I understand. Carson Wentz is hurt 95% of the games he's in. The man can't last more than a half in a playoff game. But I mean, after those first 2 picks, I look at their draft. Their draft it's not bad. Like Kavon Wallace, very very good pick. Prince Tega, Wangaho.
What a name!
I know. I think that's a steal for where they got him at. It's kind of hard to say, but I think he'll probably might be the successor to Jason Peters if Andre Dillard doesn't work out. And they got a freaking freight train of a linebacker in Shaw Bradley that I'm kind of scared of for anybody who decides to come over the middle. CD, what do not come over the middle. We will more than likely. I'd gladly sacrifice Amari Cooper for CeeDee Lamb at this point. No offense, Mario, I still love you, but overall, I'm going to give this draft a C.
Okay, I mean, I like Jalen Reagor, or Reagor, however you say his name. He's a very talented wide receiver out of TCU, but obviously.
But the one thing is about Reagor is he didn't even have 600 receiving yards, and he only had 8 touchdowns, which
people. But he's on TCU.
Yeah, that's true. The people complain, oh, he had the worst quarterback in college football. Well, receivers reflect off the quarterback, and the quarterback reflect off the receivers. So if he's such a great receiver, he would have made that quarterback much, much better. He wouldn't have been he wouldn't have been the worst. He would have been pretty down there. But if Jalen Reagor was a first round pick, he would have made him look better. So that's why I'm very unsure about that pick.
I still think he's talented because if you look at his special team stats, he's also one of those guys that just takes the ball back to the house, which obviously doesn't mean that much. But I mean, he's a talented player, so I think it makes sense for him to draft him.
I think
out of all Jefferson's better than him though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I think out of all the receivers in the draft, I think he has the biggest room to grow.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So the next team here is the Pittsburgh Steelers, and now ESPN must have been smoking some crack before they made their needs because they do not need a fucking wide receiver. They have Juju, Deontay Johnson, James Washington, all these other guys, and they draft Chase fucking Claypool. Now, not saying Chase Claypool's a bad player, just saying it's a stupid pick. And then Alex Highsmith, Anthony McFarland, shout out to Booger, baby. Anthony McFarland, Booger's son, is drafted there. Kevin Dotson, Antone Brooks Jr., and Carlos Davis, my bad, not Carol Davis. This draft makes no sense. They need a quarterback to replace Big Ben Roethlisberger. You don't draft one. They need a new running back because James Conner is trash. They draft one, but they wait till the 4th round when they could have just drafted one earlier. So I don't know what I think about this. I don't like it because they needed a quarterback. They didn't need a wide receiver. So I don't know what to think about this. I don't like it. I'm gonna go with a C minus for the Steelers.
Okay, I definitely see where you're going. I make this quick. Chase Claypool, rumors he might move to tight end. Alex Highsmith, sorry, I never heard of him. Anthony McFarland Jr., decent player. Kevin Dotson, offensive guard. Antoine Brooks Jr., I think that's a steal. Carlos Davis, he's okay. Overall, I give this draft a C+.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. There really didn't, I don't know, just nothing screamed out to me like, holy shit, this is better than a C. So next team, shouting out, this is C, the Seattle Seahawks. Shout out to throwing an interception on the 1-yard line when you have the best running back in the league. Seattle Seahawks, that team, if you seem to remember that, I don't know. They don't know what the fuck they're doing, to be honest with you. I don't think Pete Carroll understands how to draft. He could have looked at anyone's big board and have made a better selection than what they did in the first round. They drafted Jordan fucking Brooks, Texas Tech, linebacker. What is the thing that this guy did? Was he teammates with Pat Mahomes? Is that what you saw in him, Pete Carroll? What the fuck is this? And then Darrell Taylor, Damian Lewis, Colby Parkinson, DJ Dallas. I mean, DJ Dallas is a good player. Allen Robinson, Freddie Swain, Steven Sullivan. What the fuck is this? What is this? But the funny thing is some of these guys are going to end up being great because of how good of a coach Pete Carroll is. So just like with Bill Belichick, this is stupid, but it'll be good. But this first-round guy, Bush told me this, their first-round picks legitimately have never once hit in their whole lifetime. So this Jordan Brooks guy is going to be garbage. The rest of these guys probably going to be pretty good. I don't understand drafting Parkinson when you already have two talented tight ends in Disley, and I think they also have third leg Greg Olsen on that team. So a bit confusing, but overall a solid draft. Obviously, they drafted another wide receiver after last season, drafting DK Metcalf and Freddie Swain out of Florida. I mean, Tyler likes this guy, but he's a Florida fan, so he'll suck any of those guys off. Overall, though, probably a pretty decent draft. C+ for the Seattle Seahawks, but I don't think their first pick was a complete and utter swing and a miss. Like, the guy swung like 8 years after the pitch went past him. So, what do you think?
I think in the first, just the first round, I think that the Seattle Seahawks organization's big board is backwards. Just complete, it is like they're going from the worst players up, and they're like, and I don't think they understand that. Like, oh my gosh, this guy's number one on the board. He's still there. Jordan Brooks. Shoot, let's go. Turns out he was 375th best player in the draft. I mean, I don't know. Darnell Taylor, that's actually a decent pick. I'm not going to lie. That's pretty good. Damian Lewis
is good too.
Oh, yeah, Damian Lewis. Pretty much almost everybody on the LSU offensive line was good this year. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Cody Parkinson, that's top 5 tight end in this draft. DJ Dallas, I think he'll, on the offensive side of the ball, I think he'll end up being the best player from this draft, honestly. Let's see. Freddie Swain, no idea who that is. This is kind of an absolute and utter just slap in the face to Thad Moss. Steven Sullivan. They took a tight end from LSU, but it wasn't Thad Moss. I know, that's kind of sad. But
overall, he's good at blocking and Pete Carroll was running.
Yeah, that is true. But overall, I'm going to give this draft a C.
Yeah, this draft makes no sense, but like I said, I mean, Pete Carroll's just some type of a fucking genius, so he'll figure it out. So now, the San Francisco 49ers, the Super Bowl losers, the team that hates me. Let me know down below in the comments if you're a 49ers fan and you hate me. I'd appreciate it. So they selected Javon Kinlaw at 14. At 25, then with Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver out of Arizona State. Colton McKivitz, Charlie Warner, and Juwan Jennings. Kinlaw, amazing player. D-tackle out of South Carolina, go Cox, great player. Brandon Ayuk is a good wide receiver, a great wide receiver maybe, but at 25, what the fuck were you smoking? Mr. Shit, I forgot his name, the coach, the guy who choked 2 Super Bowls away. Kyle Shanahan. Yeah. What is this, dude? Come on, what the fuck was that? But overall, Kinlaw is amazing. They get another D tackle after they lose one. They needed a quarterback though. No one's going to tell you this, but Jimmy Garoppolo fucking sucks, okay? Like, how do you choke that Super Bowl? I'm being completely honest with you. They don't need Jimmy Garoppolo. They do not need someone that's paid that much money. They would be much more happy taking the dead money, getting Jimmy Garoppolo onto the street, and put in Jake Fromm or something, because Jake Fromm's not going to choke the game away, I don't think. I don't think he does that. They just run it. Jake Fromm knows to run the ball. Jimmy Garoppolo is a cocky asshole who thinks he can throw it. All right, Kinlaw, great pick. Ayuk, kind of confusing, but not a bad pick. The rest of the draft, it was a pretty solid draft. I mean, B+. I mean, Kinlaw is just fucking amazing. That defense is scary town, and they had to do that because the offense is the opposite of scary. It is sad town on offense. So what do you think?
I'm going to be straight honest. I think that the 49ers could be just as successful with Helen Keller as their quarterback. But anyways, I'm going to focus on the draft. Javon Kinlaw, amazing pick. Thank you for not taking CeeDee Lamb. Brandon Ayuk, see the man's arms, what wingspread is 8 feet, something like that. Like, that's basketball. That's insane.
On his arms or something.
Yeah, funny. I gotta tell you something after this. Cole Mikovits, that's never heard of him. Charlie never heard of him either. Juwan Jennings, I've heard of that name before.
I have heard of him too.
Yeah, so I guess that's good. I mean, unless maybe he was one of the guys that just got screwed over in one of the cases. Overall, I'm going to give this draft a B-.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't understand how they didn't draft a corner at all. Why not draft a corner at 25? I mean, Sherman, sure, he's I mean, I make jokes that he's bad. He's not fucking bad. He got burnt by Sammy Watkins, who's a bad player, which is funny. But
I mean, and if you look at their needs, they only drafted one, and that was offensive tackle. They
yeah, but
drafted
I don't
one
trust
need.
ESPN's need, but they needed a corner. From what I've seen, they need another corner, and they just didn't draft one, which makes no sense. They didn't need a wide receiver.
But what do you mean another corner? They don't have a good corner. Richard Sherman.
Come on, Richard
Man.
Sherman's good. He's not amazing like he used to be, but he's good. You can at least.
He's pretty much the reason they lost the Super Bowl. He got absolutely burnt.
But it's Garoppolo's fault. But now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady's Buccaneers. This man went out and said fuck the rules and just went and played on the beach, which is funny. I mean, you people who hate him for doing that are just fucking idiots. To be honest with you, it's funny. He's
preparing for retirement.
Yeah, in Florida. So Tom Brady's Tampa Bay Bucs select Tristan Wirfs, O-tackle. Had to make that pick. Had to move up, get their guy. Then they select a safety, who's also very underrated, very good, Antoine Winfield Jr. out of Minnesota. And then they go with Keyshawn Vaughn, a guy who is more of a sleeper type of running back. Obviously not a guy like one of those top 5, 6 guys, but is a guy that will be good in a type of Bruce Arians system. Tyler Johnson, Cahill Davis, Russell, and Calais. They drafted 2 running backs. I don't know why they drafted a wide receiver. They drafted Tyler Johnson. To me, it makes no sense. They literally have the best wide receiver duo in the league. I know your Dallas fans are going to say, oh my God, Amari Cooper and Gallup, or Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. To me, Evans and Godwin are just proven to be good. So I believe in that.
Oh, no, I definitely agree. They have the best duo in the league. The Cowboys are the best trio.
Okay, whatever you say, okay? But Tristan Wirfs, great. This is a great draft. The Bucs absolutely killed it. Tom Brady, this guy just, like, wherever he goes, they just figure out how to do it for him. They now have Gronk. This team is going to absolutely cock slap some teams. I love it. Great draft. Overall, this is an A+.
Oh,
what
yeah.
Are your thoughts?
Tristan Wirfs, they traded up one spot with the 49ers, but I guess that was worth it. Because they only sent, like, what, a 4th-round pick, I believe?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. They didn't need to do it, but I think at the time they needed to do it.
I think it was just a flex. Just to be like, hey, look at us. We have Tom Brady, and then we're drafting probably maybe the best tight tackle in the draft.
Yeah.
And, okay, anyways. So I love that pick. Antoine Winfield, 3rd best safety in the draft. He's a little bit undersized at, I believe, like 5'11", but that man's an absolute ball hawk. Keyshawn Vaughn, most underrated running back on the draft, by far. He honestly, he could be their starting running back right now.
Oh, he
I mean,
is.
sorry, Ronald Jones, but Tyler Johnson, I think that's an absolute steal. I mean, he didn't have the best 40. He didn't really have the best combine. I don't even know if he competed in the combine, to be honest. But if you look at this man's like production, he had like over like 150 receptions last year. This man is a workhorse. Like, oh my gosh, he's a freaking workhorse. Khalil Davis, I've heard good things, so good job there. And I don't know who any of these other 2 guys are, so I'm gonna give him an A.
Okay, I believe that they're fucking great. So the next team here, the Tennessee Titans, the team that absolutely mollywopped the Baltimore Ravens. They go with Isaiah Wilson, O-tackle for Georgia. Makes sense. Get a guy that's going to be able to run block for Derrick Henry. Kristen Fulton, amazing pick. Falls to 29th. LSU's cornerback, one of the best corners in the draft. Darrington Evans, running back out of Appalachian State. Guy I've heard good things about. I mean, maybe this guy's the replacement for Derrick Henry because they tagged him, and he's probably gone at the end of the year, unless they win the Super Bowl or something, and then they just pay him because they got to believe in him. And then McCurshan, NC State D-tackle, and Cole McDonald, had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, out of Hawaii, and then Jackson. Cole McDonald, to me, makes sense because I don't believe – now, I'm a Dolphins fan. I've watched Tannehill play for years. Pretty much my whole life of really watching football, really paying attention to football was Ryan Tannehill. I mean, I was like 12 or 13 when he got drafted. I was watching before that, but I wasn't as into it. Now, Cole McDonald, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't think he's going to beat out Tannehill, but what I think is Tannehill right now is at his peak. He was playing at his peak, and I don't think he can sustain that. So I don't understand paying him so much money, but I guess they had to do it because Mariota sucks. But Cole McDonald is probably just an okay pick. He's going to be his backup. Overall, a great draft. Fulton and Wilson are slam dunk picks right there for their team. After they got rid of one of their tackles, Jack Conklin, in free agency, they lost him in free agency. So the Tennessee Titans absolutely murdered this draft. They did good. Their first 2 picks. Darrington Evans is a good pick. So I'd give them probably an A to A- for the Tennessee Titans. What do you think, real quick?
Isaiah Wilson, I think that was probably they're out of this draft, probably the best pick for them because they lost, as you said, they lost Conklin at right tackle.
Yeah.
And he's probably, besides Andrew Thomas, the best run blocking tackle in this draft.
Yeah.
And funny because they're both from Georgia, but and you know that's what they freaking want to do is absolutely pound that ball until they can't take it anymore, and then pound it some more. Like what they were doing to teams in the playoffs could not have been legal.
This is ball poundage, like the fucking defense was Lana Rhodes or something. It's unbelievable.
Yes, and anyway, so Kristen Fulton, I think that's an absolute steal. Obviously, that man should have been a first round pick. Evans, I'm gonna be honest, I never heard of him, but for what I trust Tyler's judgment. Not Tyler. I have Tyler on the brain. Nick.
Yeah, my judgment. I said I heard he was good too, so that's why I'm saying he's probably
I trust Nick's judgment. I'm sorry I called you Tyler. I just had Tyler's self on the brain. I'm sure you do too. But Cole McDonald, I think that's a solid pick because when you're a white guy with dreads, that just screams savage. So I think he'll be good. I'm going to give this draft a B+.
Shout out Post Malone. All right, final team here, the Washington Redskins. Now, obviously, this is not a team that whatever they do literally probably does not matter. They drafted Chase Young, maybe the best player in the draft, and it does not fucking matter because the Redskins have some type of curse on them. I don't know what it's from.
This is why I said Derek Brown would be the best defensive lineman from this draft.
Yeah, they're fucking cursed. I mean, Chase Young's amazing. Great pick. Antonio Gibson, wide receiver out of Memphis. Good pick. Shadiq Charles, tackle LSU. Good pick. Golden, Ismail, Hudson, Curl, and Smith Williams. So their first three picks, great. They made great picks. They did. But the thing at the end of the day is the Washington Redskins are just stupid. They legitimately don't have an analytics team until a couple of years ago. They didn't know what the analytics were. They didn't understand that. How do you not fucking understand what the analytics are?
It makes sense why they drafted RG3.
And when fantasy guys have been looking at analytics since 2000, it makes no sense. Chase Young, obviously slam dunk pick. Antonio Gibson's a talented player. Shadiq Charles, obviously anyone on that LSU line is pretty good and worth a fourth-round pick. So overall, I'd say they had a good draft with what they were given. Great draft. Chase Young, obviously you can't miss on him unless you pulled a Cliff Kingsbury and said, fuck you, Dwayne Haskins, you trash can, and just drafted Tua. So I think they couldn't have traded away these picks, though, which is something that people probably might nitpick about them. Oh, because no one wanted to move up there. The Dolphins wouldn't move up there. They wouldn't move up for the Lions either, and they wouldn't move up for the Giants pick. So no trades even happened until pick 13, I believe, or 12. When the Tampa Bay Buccaneers moved up. So overall, great draft from the Redskins. Just not sure these guys turn out to be good because they joined the Redskins. So what do you think?
Yeah, that's true. Chase Young, great player, but who, like you said, that curse, which probably started the day that Joe Theismann got absolutely murdered by Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
Ended his career. Antonio Gibson, they announced bringing the commissioner, I don't know, maybe it said that on the card, or he was high as a freaking bird.
Dude, he was hammered in the third.
Oh, round. Yeah, you could definitely tell. He announced that as he announced Antonio Gibson as a running back, and so I think he'll be a very versatile player. They traded Trent Williams, and then about 30 seconds later, they took Charles. I was like,
they,
okay.
They had to get rid of Trent, though. He wasn't going to play for them.
I'll tell you, Trent's going to be a Hall of Famer from now on. Because he left the Redskins. Anyways, probably my favorite pick besides Chase Young on their draft, in the Redskins draft, is Antonio Gandy Golden. Dude, he's great. Like, honestly, he gives me signs of a little bit of a slower, shorter Julio Jones.
Okay.
But then again, it could be the talent level he was playing against Liberty. He played, I believe, the UGA's special needs kids in football at least twice. Yeah, and I don't know any of the other guys in this in their draft, so I'm happy about that. I'm gonna give this draft just because I got Chase Young, I'm gonna give him a B+.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, Chase Young's just fucking amazing. So, do you have anything to say, Andrew, before we end this video here?
Yes. I'd like to give a shout out to Tyler. Tyler, look, buddy, if you watch this video, if I'm put this on record right now, if the Chargers would not have taken Herbert at 6, he would have gone 6 picks later to the freaking Oakland Raiders. Raiders. Also, make sure you guys follow my Twitter, which I just started a couple of days ago. It's at Holly NFL, and it's not like spelled Holly like not HOLLY like have a Holly like Christmas. It's spelled HAWLEY NFL. And then make sure you follow my Instagram, which is Drew Holly 6175 on Instagram. So, anything you got to say, Nick?
Oh, yeah. Just make sure you guys check all of Andrew's stuff out. All linked down below in the description. Make sure you guys have a great rest of your day. Click that fucking subscribe button. It's free. Cost you nothing, and you're going to have a great time. You're going to win your fantasy championship, and you're going to learn a lot about the NFL and have a great time. Click on one of the videos that's on your screen right now. Have a great rest of your day. Make sure to tell people around you love them because the big Rona is coming for everyone, and they don't stop for no one, and they could get you at any point. So stay safe. Stay home. Have a great day.